welcome to my channel. And today I am reacting to r/confessions. So without further ado, let's get started. Today I'm eating Ritz Drizzled Minis fudge. These are disgustingly good, and not in the sense of like, you know, when like something's so good you're like, oh, this is disgustingly good. No, these are disgusting, but I can't stop eating them because like they're kind of good, but they're kind of disgusting. I don't know how to explain it. You're only gonna know what I'm talking about if you try these. Not sponsored, by the way. Just, I was hungry. I've been trying to film this video for like the past 2 fucking hours. And then there was like one thing after the other. And on top of that, I'm not wearing my glasses because I'm too lazy to clean them. So this video's cooked. But anyways, whatever. It's fine. Let's get started with the first one. I, 21 female, found stuff in my boyfriend, 32 male house, and I don't think he knows I know. This isn't a cheating story. I almost wish it was. My boyfriend and I have been together for about a year. He's quiet, works a lot, doesn't really use social media, not many friends. The kind of person you described as safe. Last week, he asked me to grab something from a drawer in his room while he was outside. I opened the wrong one. At first, I thought it was just junk. Old papers, random stuff, nothing important. But there was a small box underneath everything. Not hidden well, just not something you notice unless you were actually looking. Inside were photos, not normal photos, not anything illegal. Before anyone jumps to that, just unsettling. They were all of me. Not selfies I sent him, not pictures from my social media. These were taken without me knowing. Different days, different outfits, different places. Some were from outside my job. One was from what looked like across the street from my house. A couple were from inside his car, angled like he was watching me walk somewhere. I don't remember him being there for half of them. I put everything back exactly how I found it. I haven't said anything. I've been acting completely normal. He has no idea I know. The part that's messing with me is that he's still normal. Sweet, even. Nothing about him has changed. If anything, he's been more affectionate this week. I don't know what to do with this. I don't know if I'm overreacting or if I just found out I'm dating someone I don't actually know at all. I haven't told anyone in my real life because saying it out loud makes it feel real. How the hell do I handle this? Break up with him. Call the police. Can you call the police on this? I think you can. Cause like, guys, isn't that like illegal to take pictures of someone without their consent? Guys, I think what he's doing is illegal. I need a Kleenex. Oh my god, I'm getting old. Every time I get up, I feel how old I am. Yeah, I think that's illegal. She said nothing illegal, but like, these are pictures of me without consent. That's gotta be illegal in some way, shape, or form. That can't be legal. Someone tell me that that's illegal. That's gotta be illegal. Also, isn't that like how half of like the serial killer story starts? I found pictures of him that were taken without consent. 5 days later, she's found dead. I don't know. I don't know. I feel like it's illegal, though, in some way, shape, or form. I feel like you could at least break up with him and get a restraining order from that. I don't know. All right. I don't know, like, how to segue to the next one, but we're segueing to the next one, guys. I left an anonymous, harsh review of my coworker's book 2 years ago, and now I have to listen to her quote it in meetings. She published it herself like a proper self-published thing with a cover and everything, and she sent me the whole team a link with this very excited email. I read it because I felt like I had to. It was fine. It was about productivity and habits and honestly pretty generic. The kind of book where you can predict the next sentence before you read it. I don't know what came over me. I left a review on Goodreads, an anonymous account I made specifically for this. I wasn't cruel, but I wasn't soft either. I said something like the core ideas felt borrowed and the author seemed more interested in sounding credible than actually saying something new. I said it read like someone who had read a lot of books about writing books and not quite made the jump to having their own voice yet. I thought that was the end of it. It was not the end of it. About 2 months later, she mentioned in a team meeting that she'd gotten some really challenging feedback that forced her to rethink her approach for the next project. She read part of it out loud. It was my review, word for word. She said it was the most useful thing anyone had said to her about her writing, and she was genuinely grateful to whoever wrote it. She had mentioned the mystery reviewer 4 times since then. Once she called them brutally honest in the best way. Last month, she said the feedback changed how she thinks about her own voice as a writer. I have sat there every single time and said nothing. I make a face that I hope reads as, interesting, and not, that was me. I wrote that at 11 p.m. on a Tuesday because I was mildly annoyed. I am never telling her. It would ruin it somehow, and I'm just a coward. And I feel like a coward. I can't see. That's my fault with how I took the screenshot, but I don't think it's a coward move, but it kind of is. The thing is, I mean, I think it's great because the author of that book didn't take it personally. She took it as healthy criticism and is gonna, forward in writing, she's gonna think twice before writing. She's gonna think to improve her voice as a writer, which is good. But what's kind of coward about this is that the girl who wrote the Reddit post, or the guy, but I think it's a girl, she wrote it anonymously. And I feel like if you can't write something negative if you have to write something negative anonymously, then don't write it at all. I feel like you should, I feel like if you're going to write something negative, at least have at least show who you are. I don't know. I find it's kind of coward. And it's kind of a coward move to have written it anonymously. I don't know. But I don't think it's mean that she wrote that. I think it would have been fine if she had wrote it while keeping her identity, but writing it anonymously is what makes it cowardly. So, I don't know. I pretend to walk my dog longer than I need to so I can sit on a bench and call my mom. I'm a 30-year-old woman. I have a good job, a house, a life that looks totally put together from the outside. Every single evening I tell my husband I'm taking the dog for a walk. And I do, but the walk only takes about 20 minutes. After that, I sit on this bench by a little pond in our neighborhood and I call my mom. We talk for 45 minutes, about nothing, about everything. She tells me about her garden, I tell her about my day, she asks if I'm eating enough, I lie and say yes. She knows I'm lying. We both laugh. My mom was diagnosed with early onset Alzheimer's 2 years ago. She's still mostly herself right now, but I've watched it start to chip away at the edges. She repeated the same story 3 times on Tuesday's call. I laughed all 3 times like it was brand new. I don't tell my husband the real reason the walks are so long, because I don't want him to look at me with pity. I don't want this to become sad. These calls aren't sad. They are the best part of my day. I'm storing up every conversation like I'm filling a warehouse. I know one day the phone won't really make sense to her anymore. But right now, today, my mom still laughs at my terrible jokes and calls me her baby and tells me she's proud of me. So yeah, my confession is that I'm a grown woman who sits on a park bench every night pretending her dog needs extra exercise just so she can talk to her mom. I'm not even sorry. I don't see this as wrong. I think this is, a beautiful thing. And honestly, if that's how you want to do it, go for it. If that's what you want to do, you don't want to tell your husband. And it's not really something you need to tell your husband. Like, you don't have to tell your husband about that. That, like, you talk to your mom on the phone. That's not something that's, like, make or break a relationship or a marriage or whatever. It's fine, you know? She's not doing anything bad. She just goes and sit on a bench with her dog and talks to her mom on the phone every night. And it's, I mean, and she's not doing it in a bad way, because at the same time, she's bringing the dog out for the walk that it will need anyways. So she's being productive, and then she takes a little 45-minute break in her day to be able to talk to her mom. I don't see anything wrong with that. I fell asleep for 20 minutes during a work call and accidentally gave the best answer of my career. This happened about 3 months ago, and I've never told anyone because I genuinely don't know how to explain it. We were in the middle of a quarterly strategy call. 11 people, 2 hours scheduled. Cameras... I'm sorry. I don't know what that last part was. God, okay. We were in the middle of a quarterly strategy call. 11 people, 2 hours scheduled, cameras off because our director had said it was audio only for focus. I was working from home. It was 2 p.m. I'd had a terrible night of sleep the night before, and the first 40 minutes of the call were someone from finance presenting data in a monotone voice over a screen share I couldn't see because I was audio only. I don't remember falling asleep. I remember the finance presentation, and then I remember a voice saying, "Actually, let's get some thoughts from the product side. What's your read on this?" The voice was asking me specifically by name. I have no idea how long I'd been out. My notes from before I fell asleep said 2:14 p.m. My phone said 2:37 p.m. I had been asleep for somewhere between 15 and 20 minutes on a call with 11 colleagues and my director. I did not panic. I think I was too freshly awake to panic. I just said the first coherent thing that came into my head, which was something along the lines of, "Honestly, I think we've been measuring the wrong thing, and the metric we keep optimizing for isn't actually connected to the outcome we care about." There was a pause. That's a really interesting framing. Can you expand on that? I expanded on it for about 4 minutes, pulling from things I actually believed about our strategy that I'd never said out loud in a meeting before because I'd always edited myself. Something about being half asleep removed whatever filter I usually apply. 2 people followed up with me after the call. My director mentioned it in our next one-on-one as a strong contribution. A version of what I said made it into the next strategy document. I have never told anyone I was asleep. I take very detailed notes in every meeting now and keep an extra strong coffee next to my laptop at all times. I also genuinely believe what I said was right, which somehow makes the whole thing worse. I don't get how this is like necessarily bad. I mean, it's bad, I guess, that you fell asleep in a meeting, but also like you were tired. And I mean, you did end up, and I think in a way it was good because it gave her this opportunity where she was half asleep and panicking because now she isn't really sure how to respond, and then was able to give a honest answer that she wouldn't normally feel comfortable giving, and honestly people did apparently like it. And I think that's a good thing because sometimes you just need to put your ideas out there because you never know how people are going to think about it. And I think it's a good thing that she was able to do it because normally she wouldn't do it. And I think it's good that she put in her actual thoughts. I think that's a good thing. And I don't think it's bad that she, thought she was right because they also thought she was right. I just can't seem to find my boyfriend attractive anymore. I'm currently on a burner account as I don't feel comfortable posting on my main, but as the title says, I just can't seem to find my boyfriend attractive anymore. We've been together 2 years, and when we first started dating, he was so attractive. Great hair, great style, great everything, but over some time, he started to heavily put on weight, not caring about style or looks anymore, and it's making me feel sad about myself because am I not pretty enough for someone to put in the effort for me? I have mentioned about how he's changed drastically, and the weight change just isn't attractive to me, and he said he'll sort it out, but my God, nothing is happening and I'm exhausted. I want someone to put the effort in for me, someone to care about how they look for me just like how I do for him. I don't fucking deserve this. I make sure my hair's nice and clean, cute outfit, and make my makeup look pretty, at least I try. But he does nothing, and I'm tired. My family say all you gotta do is break up. I know it's hard, but that's the way to be happy, and I do agree, but man, it's easy said and done. I don't know what to do, but any advice would be really appreciated. I just to be happy and in love, not feel disrespected because he's genuinely being lazy. I think she should sit down and basically give him a threat. She should tell him, hey, I feel like you've let yourself go. I don't find you attractive anymore because you let yourself go. I keep up with myself and I keep myself presentable and pretty for you. And I just feel like you're not reciprocating it. I think that's the word, or how you say the word, back to me. And if you don't, because I've already mentioned this to you before, I will break up with you. I will have no choice because my happiness comes over all. And that's what you should do. And if he fights her on it, then break up. And breaking up's not easy. I've done it 3 times in my life. It's not easy. It's not an easy decision. I'm not going to say, oh my God, it's so easy. It's a walk in the park. No, it's not. It's really hard. But sometimes you got to do what you got to do. And sometimes it's breaking up with someone. I was going to dump my wife, but my brother-in-law saved our relationship. She doesn't know and may never know. My wife and I met when we were teens. I had just come off of 2 very bad situations with girls who I thought were my girlfriends, but I was just their side guy. So when I met my wife, I was raw, not very trusting, but absolutely in love with her. She had a bunch of guy friends who were also obsessed with her, the worst being a guy named Bradley. I told her I didn't like him, didn't want to be in a relationship with so many other men hanging around, and she begged me to be understanding, and I tried. One night she's doing something, and I am alone with Bradley and my now brother-in-law in their parents' kitchen. Bradley tries the whole alpha dog. I've known her longer, and if you heard her, shit on me. I was already raging at even seeing him because we had. Okay, I'm sorry guys, my phone's storage was full. So I had to deal with that. I told you guys this video was cooked. Anyways. Let's continue. I was able, because usually when my phone storage list is full, it's the video doesn't appear till I deal with my storage. And the video appeared for the moment that it stopped. So I was able to go look at the end of the video to see where it cut me off. And then when I came back after deleting stuff and whatever, it was gone. So I know it's gonna come back, but it was cool because I was able to see where I was at. So I was already raging at even seeing him because we had an argument about him earlier that day. Some shit was said, brother-in-law just watched quietly, Bradley implied something about my wife that just made me snap. I backhanded him and said I was fucking done with this shit and left. We had been dating about 9 months by then, and I had reached my limit of all of the guys in her life trying to get with her or fuck with me or both. I planned on breaking up with her that day or the next whenever I cooled off. She found me early that next morning and started apologizing and crying nonstop. Apparently, my brother-in-law told her everything and gave her a harsh lecture about her choice in friends. That seemed to finally get through to her and left me feeling like a shit heel for making her cry. I changed my mind on ending the relationship after we spent hours talking. Been together 16 years, married 11, but I came so close to losing something that has been so perfect because I was young and didn't know how to handle it. My brother-in-law saved my relationship with my wife. Quiet guy, doesn't speak up often, but is the only reason I am with her today. I hope he has a good relationship with his brother-in-law. That is a good brother though, for like putting his sister in her place. And it would have gone back like both ways. It's not because like he's her brother or anything. Like if it was the other way around with like where instead it was like this sister sitting in and whatever, like if he was, you know, if both ways, you know, yeah. But I'm happy that the brother-in-law ended up putting her in her place, because if not, that could have ended wrong. That could have ended wrong. Yeah. I was in a relationship with a man much older than me. I do not regret it. Was the relationship inappropriate? Yes. I was 21 and he was 37. Let me give you some backstory. So I was brutally strangled by my dad when I was just 4 years of age. It is a memory I have had to live with all these years. I am now 23. He was the only person who could understand what I went through. His family were criminals and violent ones at that. They brutally abused him from a young age, so much so that he went out of his way to avoid being like them. But the rage remained. He is the only one who understood that rage. I know it was inappropriate given how much older he was than me, but at the time I didn't know anyone else who understood. I was so lonely. I loved him more than I have ever loved anyone. Those 3 months were the best of my life. Sadly, though, he was already engaged and we had to break it off. I still remember him, though, how he was the first person to make me feel seen, like I was worth something. I often dream about what could have been, where he was single and we were closer in age. He was the best I ever had. Not once did he ever hurt me or raise his voice at me, despite all his anger issues. The thought of doing so was unbearable for him. He was a kindred spirit in the abuse department. It wasn't just a kinky sub/dom relationship. We were two broken souls figuring out how to love ourselves through our love of each other. So judge me if you want. It helped me. I don't recommend it to anyone else, just to be clear, because it probably won't turn out as well as what I went through. But yeah, there's my confession. I loved him, and I still love him, even after finding out that he lied about being single. So yeah, I can understand why he did it while not condoning it. I understand if you judge me for this, but I regret nothing. My mom hated this man, but he was the most perfect person in the world to me, despite his issues. Judge me if you want, I regret nothing. People like to say there's plenty of fish in the pond. Not this one. Nobody could ever measure up to this man. No partner I have had since has ever done so. The trauma I experienced changes you in ways that are irreversible, in ways that most people could never understand, in ways nobody else I know could possibly relate to. Trauma like that is an extremely isolating experience. The chances of me or him finding anyone who understands the kind of trauma we went through is infinitesimally small. He was the only one to ever truly love that part of me, all of me, not just the socially acceptable sides. There is a fuck ton of shame in the kind of relationship we had, but that's one of the reasons I loved it. We were both free to be our most shameful selves, and we loved each other for it. So this was the last one, and my thoughts on that one. I don't know if that would be necessarily grooming, but she was not in the wrong for dating older. He was more in the wrong because she was a young adult. Her brain wasn't fully developed. His was. He should have never started that relationship to begin with. And I know they had stuff in common. They could have been friends. They could have been friends, and they could have shared the fact that, you know, they had that in common. That would have been fine, but starting a relationship as a 37-year-old with a 21-year-old is so wrong. He's on the wrong side. Absolutely. She did absolutely nothing wrong. She had trauma. And this is where I'm not sure if that would be grooming, because he used the fact that he also had similar trauma to kind of bond with her and get her attached. Yet he also was like, he also had a fiance. So this is where I don't know. All I know is that he's absolutely in the wrong, and he did wrong by like messing with her feelings and stuff. And yet, yes, I know she doesn't see it like that. Obviously, she's saying he was an amazing man, blah, 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 blah. But I see him as an awful man because he played with her feelings whilst he was engaged, whilst he had a fiance. Like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? And he was 37. She was 21. Her brain wasn't even fully developed. His was, but clearly wasn't developed enough. I don't know. I think something's wrong in all that, and I think she needs therapy, for sure, for what she went through. Like, that's not okay. Not only does she need therapy for what she went through as a child, but she needs therapy to realize that that man wasn't good. That man wasn't the man she thought he was, because there's something wrong with all of that. I don't know how the fuck to go from someone who got abused and probably got groomed to ending a video. So I'm just going to end the video because I don't know how the fuck do you segue from that to this. I don't know. But anyways, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. You guys can give out your thoughts and feelings on these different confessions, or maybe leave your own confessions in the comments. Maybe I can make my own confession video. I don't know. But I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Please give this video a like, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!